At one point in March, I was not going to do it. It was going to be just some nice gift windows with some gift boxes and merchandise. And then I got to thinking, I can't do that. I sort of created a little monster here. So what can I do that's sort of simplified but still exciting and something that's not going to cost a lot of money, because it's a lot of labor-intensive time that's put into it. So I think we've come up with something that's fun and interesting, and kids are going to like it, and I believe the adults will too. There is no theme to the window per se. Like last year was downtown, we call it Downtown Abbey. And many times the kitchen window will have sort of a kitchen theme that ties in with the store window. But this time it was just, let's have some fun with the mice, and it's Christmas. And so the mice are doing all kinds of Christmas things, from decorating, cutting a tree, having a campfire, Santa Claus, the elves. The elves has reindeer.
The reindeer games is just brilliant. You've got cards, and they're playing cards.
And that was just a last-minute thing of like, what can we do to... And literally the last minute. This was on Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. And what can the reindeer mice be doing? And I just said, well, I could be playing cards, playing tennis. And Linda said, cards. Wait, we've got the cards from the figure from a couple of years ago. So that's where that came from.
Particular playing card set I bought, or card set I bought in a dollar store, had these little miniature cards as part of their design. And so that year when I was doing Alice in Wonderland, I was like, I can make her dress.
Good morning.
This is the ultimate in recycling.
We had some mice left over, and again, the mice take time, about 3 hours to make, but we had some, and so we can get by with just doing having to make a few mice instead of a lot of mice. Then it was this, let's do this, let's do that, and that's how I kind of came up with it. And again, as I said, simplified and a lot easier to do. There isn't all the work that goes in. There's a lot of work, but it doesn't, not like some of them.
You have all the various mice who are basically dressing up as reindeer. So you have the little reindeer hats like how that people put on their dogs.
Yeah.
Okay, so these all got made, so they all have their own little costumes. And then, of course, you've got Rudolph.
Well, of course.
So I'm thinking that this whole setup will be kind of a little bit of a gag with, they're rolling on the ground, they're laughing, etc., because, it's the reindeer games. So Rudolph, and he's got his tie-on nose, but I came upon this little thing. I'm gonna wire him so that Rudolph's little tie-on nose will light up. But as I said, these are mice who are dressing up, so the nose is tied on. Santa's the mouse who's dressing up as Santa. His little beard is a little tied on.
You have fun making these.
I do. Of course, these are already broken into the wine bottle. So I'm going to be having them all with little cups. So the little cups, these are the caps to toothpaste.
And those are the cups.
Those
they
are the
work,
cups.
they look.
They're like to scale.
Yeah.
I know. So I'm sitting there and going pulling out all the little, hotel toothpastes that you sometimes, or whatever you grab. And I'm like, I'm like, I just want the cap. Last month when I was doing these, I'm going, I want something that's about this. And I started walking around and I'm going, is it the lid to my lipstick? And I'm pulling off the lid to my lip. No, that's too big. And then I'm looking off this. And then all of a sudden it's like I'm looking at, so I'm there and looking in the, in the bathroom, at perfumes and things like that. And then I'm looking at the toothpaste and I'm going, huh. And so then I'm like, well, I have like, you know, a half a dozen of those little miniature toothpastes that you're dragging around for trips and everything.
Yeah.
And you start them and you never complete them and everything. And it's like, I'm ripping, taking them, tossing off the toothpaste and just taking the little caps. And I'm going, this is perfect. So I can have the mice that are dressed as elves getting schnockered over here. The mouse that's dressed as Mrs. Claus helping the mouse that's dressed as Santa Claus get dressed. And then the mice that are costumed out as the reindeer over here with Rudolph being electrified, you know, his nose being gone off, and I'm painting the sleigh right now. So that's what's going on there. And then in the front, there'll be a whole little scene happening up front with other little shenanigans.
What's so fun about this? You have fun doing this.
Oh,
they all have sort of their own personalities,
and I do is I make them. You know, as I'm sitting here and needle felting this, and I don't know if you've ever seen me when they've been needle felted, how they're done. Okay, because they're all, you know, these are all. I start off with a little pipe cleaner armature, and then I work with what's called roving, but it's basically wool, and then you sit there with what is a little barbed needle. And you just so that the little barbs in the needle interlock the threads of the wool, and that's what weaves it together.
Okay.
But because I want to be able to pose these things, because I never know until I get here what I'm doing with, you know, some of these things, I need to be able to position them, and so I don't want to get them to the point where they're so rigid,
set in their place,
that I can't move them. Okay, so this is what the stuff looks like. All right? And so I would sit there and if you look very carefully, there's like little barbs on the end of this thing. So I would sit there with a piece of fluff and keep doing and doing and doing, and that just, it binds it all together, so it's no longer, it literally weaves together all the different fibers when you do this. And so that's how the bodies of the mice were made.
You're telling a story.
You are, and as I said, and as I get into this, I don't know what I'm going to do with this mouse. But as I get along with this mouse, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, oh, well, what if I put a little bit of fluff here and highlight his jowls, and oh, maybe I'll give him a little bit of fluff around his eyes. Now, mind you, he's more probably chipmunky face than a mouse face, but it's what gives him a little bit of character. And then you have some that are just, you know, straightforward. And then I have some like this one, who I stitched little eyelashes on because I knew she was going to be a female. I didn't know she was going to be Mrs.
Yeah.
But they're like the little whiskers. The whiskers are like from brooms, like a foxtail broom, you know, the little shop brooms. And I'm sitting there going, I'm clipping those because I didn't feel like clipping my paintbrushes and destroying my paintbrushes. And so I clipped those and sew those in, and so that's how they are. And all of these the little hands and feet. I make the little hands and feet out of an oven bakeable clay. It's a polymer clay called Sculpey.
Yeah.
And so I sit there and I make all of these things and then bake them.
All right.
That made the mice?
I made them that way, yeah.
Congratulations, they're beautiful.
Thank you.
It's like these guys are helping and those guys are over there playing dice.
Well, at least I'm not drunk. I had a drunk.
Oh yeah, with the pink nose.
Oh, and it's your pink nose.
Bob is brilliant. And so if he has an idea and you know, we talk about it, and it's exciting
Mhm.
because, you know, he has these, like, well, I'm going to think about doing this. And this year, because of COVID and everything, it's like, you know, let's not make this just this thing where I'm having to paint the whole backdrop and all of that.
Yeah.
Let's contain this in so that it's not as much of a burden as it has been in some years. And so having these little shadow boxes is really what they are.
Yeah.
Is like ideal.
We are working as a team, I believe, and many times Tom will say something, or I'll say something, or even Linda, and we just, wait, can we do that? And then something gets changed. So it's all working together, but working together really very nicely, and I'm pleased with that. And it's fun. It makes it a nice environment.
Well, you have created a fun couple of windows for this Christmas, and I thank you.
You're more than welcome. All right, Merry Christmas.